Ooh, what's going on, YouTube? It's Johnny Baldy. So, I am finally going to do the review on the Gerber LHR, Gerber LHR Combat knife. I've already done a few videos just describing why this is not a combat knife. So I'm going to review it as a fighting knife because that's what it is. And I don't want to give a bad review because they named it wrong, right? But I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over some specs and I'm going to talk about the things I don't like first and the things I do like. Now, the things I don't like, one of them is going to be a mix of opinion and fact. And some of the other things that I don't like are just going to be factual and scientific. So, but I'm going to start by stopping right there and tell you that I like this knife. I do. So, no matter what I say, remember, I have to be honest, right? I have to be honest. So I say it all the time, painfully honest knife review. I have to tell you guys exactly how I feel and why I feel it. And being a combat vet and being somebody who knows what you need in a combat knife, I know there were some military minds that were in the process of designing this. So I'm confused as why they did some of the design points they did. Really confused, but is what it is. Let's start with the things I don't like and get them out of the way because there's enough to like about it. First, this thing is bad, right? It's adjustable, but it still hangs really freaking low. If you are a shorter person, this right here, this part right here is going to be on or below your knee. It makes it really useless. Now, I was reading reviews on this knife, and a lot of the reviews I saw were talking about the sheath and things like that. It says nice enough knife, but as it comes out of the box, it's far from usable. It does not come with a satisfactory edge. The retention system on the lock and the knife case is horrible. If you don't mind pulling out the block, it looks like needs a resharpening. All right, so that right there, what I can tell you is the retention is good. It's a good retention, right? So I don't know why his came bad, and what that tells me is they had Gerber make these, and they're just very inconsistent on how they were made. But this one, it's not coming out. I don't need the strap on it. It's not coming out. So I can't attest to this guy saying that it has a terrible retention. What I can say is when he talked about the edge, this thing was really dull. The guy who I got this from tried sharpening it and couldn't. Even though I believe it's 440C, it's really hard to find. A lot of the places and things just say stainless steel. That's it. There's no true steel description. When you're talking about Chris Reeves and him putting his name on a knife, I would think that the steel is going to be really top-notch steel. And believe me, I don't have a problem with 440C. But I would think that it would be a little bit easier to find the steel designation. I shouldn't have had to look for that. And I really had to search. So let's see, a lot of features on this knife it's unfortunately not for military close combat. And I agree 100%. This is not for military close combat. I agree 100% on that. And knife is well constructed, slightly odd to hold. I can completely agree with that. And there's a whole lot of people who know knives that are doing these reviews, and then you're going to get a lot of ass kisser reviews where people clearly just don't know knives, and they're just, oh yeah, because they bought it, they're excited to have it, and they're making this thing. People who know knives and understand A, combat, and B, value, I don't know, and they sold these things it retailed for $153.99, it looks like, and last I saw them selling was for $118.50. I think you could still find them some places out there. For me, this is a well-suited, like, $90 knife. That's what I would put it at. So now, what I don't like, I already mentioned this. I'm 6'3", so I don't have a problem with the drop. What I do have a problem with is that most people aren't 6'3", and they have a problem with how far this drops. I don't like it. What I do like, though, is that you can take all this crap off and just have a belt loop, and then you have a well-seated knife. The problem is, now you have this crappy nylon, and if you aren't strapping it to yourself, then pulling it out when it has a really good retention, trying to just having it there and doing this, it's really hard to pull out because now you have nothing securing it, and it's just a bad design there. It's just a bad design there. This part, I take all this crap off, and this part I really like. On my issued knife, that's what I did. You could see there's a little hole there and then up to there. This isn't big enough for a belt, but when you take out the material between the hole and that slot, perfect for a belt. So with my actual carry knife, my LMF Infantry 2, made by Gerber too, just way better for some reason. That's what I did. I hollowed out that little area, and I just used this plastic piece on a belt. It locks in, boom, pulls out every single time. It's great. So with this knife, I'm going to end up doing the same thing. I'm ripping all this crappy nylon stuff that doesn't need to be on there. I'm taking it all off because it's just useless. And then I'm going to be left with a good sheath. I'll be left with a good sheath. Now, one thing it does say is it talks about how that the sheath has an inner lock to it that makes it so you're the only one that can take the knife out of the sheath. Bad guys can't get it. So I tested that. How do you test it? By directional pulls. If I'm the user, I'm pulling this way. Comes right out. Okay, that should be the only way this knife comes out. What if I'm in front of it and I'm pulling that way? Knife comes right out. Okay, so far the bad guy just took my knife. Somebody comes up behind me, pulls this way. Oh, it comes right out. So far, that's not good. What if it's this way? Somebody comes from the side. There's nothing to what they said that holding in this knife. There's no lock. There's no, you can only be taken out by the guy using it. No, it's just a sheath. It's the same as any other sheath. It's going to come out the same way. So I think that was like some of this to get people to buy a product, but then they get it and they realize that was bullcrap. But does that matter? No. Because you buy any other sheath, and that's the way the sheath works. So the fact that all they had to do is not say that, oh, it's the only person. You don't say that, and all of a sudden nobody cares, right? But now, because you can test it and prove it wrong, prove it to be a failure, now people care. So there's that. The overall length is 12.5 inches. The blade length is 6.87 inches. It is a drop point, beautifully done drop point, by the way. It does have a serration. I don't really care about the serration. One thing I can say about it, though, is it's at least the round serrations, so they don't usually dull as fast as the little pointy ones. So if you're going to put a serration, okay, use those. I don't really, if it was a plain edge, I'd like it a little better, but it is what it is. Some people really love serrations, so I'm not going to knock that. My combat blade has serrations. Why? Because Geneva Convention disallows teeth on top. So you got to put something somewhere. Let's see. Handle material is rubber, and it is really just cheap feeling rubber. Even though they call it, it's got a special tack hide. Ooh, tack hide. That means it can't slip out of your hands even when it's wet. Well, when it's dry, it does a pretty good job of coming out of my hand, and that's where the science comes in, and I'll get into that. Let's see. Color black, sheath polymer. The sheath without, I'm telling you guys, if I make it sound like I'm being a jerk and talking about how bad this thing is, the actual sheath is really freaking good. That's a really good, I don't know who said their retention is bad. They must have got a lemon. This sheath is good, right? All this stuff, the stuff that doesn't matter, no good. The sheath is good. All right, so let's see. Brand Gerber, model LHR. best use tactical. I'm down with that. I'm glad that, and this is from Blade HQ. Blade HQ didn't say best use combat because they'd be wrong. Best use tactical, I am 100% down with that. I'm glad they wrote that. Blade material, and this is again stainless steel. It's all it says. Handle length 5.63. What I will say about the handle length, perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is where perfect ends though in the handle. And I'm going to get into that. So the science. You see these grooves, right? Right here you have grooves going up and down. Right here, that creates a really good lock on the hand. You see how hard it is for me to pull my, it's cheap rubber, so I'm able to pull, but you can see my fingers are actually locking into there, right? The problem is, then they go this way. That is dumb. I don't know who made lines that go this way, but here's the meat of your hand right here. This is where your strength comes in your grip, right? Especially since this is really small. It's super thin right here and super small. You go from this point that offers grip to this point that offers none. And this is the only point where it offers grip in the grip. Outside of there, the lines go this way. What that does, if I let go of that front grip, it just comes out of the hand right away. And the reason is because these are little tracks. These are tracks. This is basic science. This right here, it's allowing and helping your hand to come out of there at an unnatural speed. It shouldn't be. You guys know I hate the K-bar stuff. I hate the K-bar grips, I mean. But you see how these lines, they go the right way. That's basic science. You are better off to have no lines than to have lines that go this way, because what you're doing is you're forcing the knife to naturally want to leave, right? So I have to say that of the nitpicky things, that right there bugs the hell out of me. Now, why I don't really care is because it's not coming out. It's not coming out unless there's tension on the blade, unless there's something that's keeping the blade locked. If I go in deep to something like a piece of wood and I go to pull it out, there's a good chance my hand could slip off. What's going to happen? Nothing. I'm going to have to grab it again and do it over again. So that's nitpicky. It's dumb to make lines go this way. I'm not going to lie. It's dumb. And I don't know. I know there's 3 people that went into the making of this knife. I don't know whose idea it was to do that. And I mean, no disrespect to that person, but it's not smart. It's just not. The other thing, and the part that's not nitpicky is this. And this. For a combat application, you don't want to be rushing your hands into things that are going to hurt you. No, you could have made a really nice, like just this point right here, that little curve right there, take that off, boop, and make that your guard, round that off a little bit, you got a great guard. You'd have a great guard, and I'd be like, damn, the guard on this is phenomenal. This one, while I don't like it at all, it's not as bad as this one. This still, though, to have that angle, to have that coming at you, is it good for if you want to use it as a weapon? Yeah, but what if it's a weapon against you? If you're going fast, oh man, oh that hurt. You know, because when you're talking about being in a fight, there's a struggle. If you don't already have your knife out, that sucks. So close quarter combat is where I have a problem with this. Here's what I freaking love about it. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. We went over the stuff I don't like. It was only a couple things, right? Only a couple things that I didn't like. And that was nylon on the sheath. The fact that they call it combat, okay, so that's stupid. We can get over that. The fact that you have to search for the steel isn't fun. But what I don't like about it, okay, so the nylon, the fact that they call it like this locking thing. And here's the thing. 2 of the things I don't like about this knife are wording. Okay, throw those 2 away. It's just wording. I don't like the wording. All right, but outside of the wording, who cares? So then the only thing is direction of these lines, the material of the grips, the shape of the grip in front. I mean, come on. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. If you have that right there and you're looking at it, you're going, damn, that fits a regular hand. Like my hand in there right now is fit perfect. This right here has got so much area where my hand, even when if I have it in a full tight grip, this finger is not gripping anything because I'm making a fist with the rest of my fingers. This finger would need to go beyond my fist. That's terrible. That's terrible. So I wish that this area was equal to this area. This swell right here would have been far more than enough to make this and this work together. Far more than enough right here. People with little tiny hands might maybe have a problem with this sticking out, but I still have plenty of room in that grip, so I doubt it. I think just this one area, man, that changes everything. But that's it. Now here's getting back to what I love. Distance fighting. They offer a little thumb ramp right here. When you are in an overhand grip, right? Your standard grip, that is really comfortable. Even though it's got some big fat jimping on there and you think one of those lines is going to feel really bad in your hand, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I think it actually feels pretty good. So this area here, now what it does, if I hold it this way, it takes away this, because now I'm not touching that. Now my fingers just rested against the steel. I'm not getting any of this. And I still, even with my hand backed up in the grip, I still have a full grip. That's appreciative. So the blade itself, the drop point, I love the shape. I love the lines. I love the grinds. Whoever designed this grind to look like that with this hump, that's genius type stuff right there. There's even a hump right here that's hard to tell because it curves down right here, giving you a place for your thumb where it's rounded so you're not going to jack yourself up. I really like that. There's some really good things to like about this knife. The problem is there's some bad things to not like about the knife. The thing with me, though, is the good outweighs the bad so far. So let's take it out and play with it. Woo! It's cold out here, boys. All right, so here, just a look at it in the sun. You really get a good shot of the lines in the blade. And I think overall, you know, take away this and this, that right there, that is one badass knife. And I'm really thinking about grinding that off. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, collectible, blah, 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 because their names are on it. They didn't make it. This is Gerber. They just designed it. So I really don't care. And I don't care about people are saying, oh, don't use it. Don't use it. If it's brand new, don't use it. You should save this one. Whatever. It's a knife. It's made to knife. So I don't care about that. So I think what I'm going to do is grind this off, grind that off, and then I'm going to end up with a pretty decent knife. I might even take these scales off and do some micarta and make some really nice scales for it, because I think with that grinding and new scales, this would be one of my favorite stand apart or stand away fighting knives, you know what I mean, instead of being up close. Now, I told you that the edge was extremely dull. I did take it down into the shop and I did sharpen it. So you will see it able to cut today. But it's not a stock edge. It's definitely not a stock edge. I wasn't going to do that to anyone. So let's do a couple drops and we'll see the balance. The balance is pretty decent. I have to say that I'm not disappointed with the way the balance came out. Let's do a couple hard downward throws and really get that sewn gun in there. And just that, I just pinched the hell out of my hand doing that on that little goofy thing in the rear. Do that again. We're going to test the bite here, which is pretty good. So I got to tell you guys, it's like 34 degrees right now with 12-mile-an-hour winds. I'm freezing my ass off, but you guys are worth it. Yeah, so this did get me when I was trying to wiggle it out. But what I have to say is it's got some pretty good bite. I could definitely feel it slipping away. I'm pulling out because I'm grabbing it from the rear. And those lines, those just don't do it. So let's try and cut a 1/2-inch nylon rope. And I know it's kind of useless because it came like it wouldn't cut anything. It came really freaking dull. So to say, let's see how the edge is, I apologize because it's not the edge. I should have tested it with the original edge, but I respect the designers. I know you can't tell, but because I'm honest, and sometimes being honest means being hard. But if you can sharpen a knife, then you'll be able to see, okay, what this knife is capable of if it's sharpened properly. And this knife is properly sharpened. So it's a fighting knife, but in my eyes, it's a tactical fighting knife that offers itself well as a survival blade just by the shape and the size, right? It's as far as a combat knife, it might be an inch too long, inch and a half too long in the blade for a true carry it with you in the stuff, but it's perfect, and I mean perfect for a survival knife. Between 6-7 inches, usually 6 to 9 inches is where you want your survival knives. I think that's really good. Stabbing through the tire, I mean, man, that right there is all due to the phenomenal job in the swedging and the phenomenal job in these lines here. I'm telling you, this blade is great. This, you know, I was about to leave. Let's hit the extension cord here, and of course, I mean, that's not going to create a problem at all. I do have this big old stick here. Let's see if we can get through it on a couple of hits. And because it does have enough of a little curl back here, I should be able to get to the end and hit pretty well. And that hit really well. This is a thick stick, and that is good. That is good, man. So hitting through a thick stick, that's nice. I am getting some weird spots up here, and I don't know if you can see that white spot, but I am getting, I don't know what's causing it, if it was up here, but something is definitely causing drag on the hand. Scales will be in the future. Scales will definitely be something I need to add, and I can already tell you I'm going to grind this off. I don't care what it is and who says I shouldn't. It's happening. All right, let's take it over to the other place. All right, so I think I realized what's scratching me. It's this point right here. It's just a little too pointy. That right there was digging into me when I grabbed it, and I grabbed it here, and you can see, you probably can't see, but right there on the hand, you can see it's like a ripped callus. I grabbed it there, and that little point just ripped right through me. So I have to say that all of the great in this knife is from here to here. All of the bad in the knife is from here to here, right? So if this is what you're buying a knife for, you're buying a great knife. If you're buying a knife for this, you're buying a not so great knife. Now, here we go, wet hands. There's no, I'm talking tack hide for wet hands. This is one of the slickest rubber grips I've ever felt in my life. That is a terrible, terrible grip. But it's not always about the grip, it's about the rip. So let's see if we can knock some of this stuff down. And it's 440C, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I have confidence in 440C. A lot of people, like blade snobs, hear the words 440 and they automatically go to cheap steel. Oh, it's blah blah. No, tell you what, it's proven itself to be a very, very good steel. I can't knock it. We're gonna go through some knots right here. If the blade warps, then we'll know. But going through these knots and having no problems doing it, no. I'll tell you what, as an absolute fighting knife, and not one that you have to grab quick and take out, but if you know you're about to get into a mess and you already have this thing in your hands, this thing will work out great. Oh man, I'm definitely taking that down. I just hit my pinky on that. Golly, that was a stinger. All right, so let's take it over here. All right, let's see if we can't give it a rip. I haven't measured it out. This will be my first throw. This is really slick. I'm very, very disappointed with the whole tack hide thing. And again, everything that's bad is wording. Well, besides the grip and all these sharp points. Let's see. Oh, no. All right, so it does throw a little differently than some of my throwing knives because I'm in about the spot where I would normally throw from. And now I see where it's going. It's getting around almost far enough or too far. Let's see. I don't know. This is definitely a little weird as a thrower, but Let me find the spot. All right, I may have just needed to back up. I got it to stick from here. We're about 6 yards, and it missed. But I have to say, there's not a lot of knives I don't throw consistently. You guys see it. You see it all the time. I do a lot of throwing. So if I have a knife where it's not getting around after I've got it stuck from one place, and I'm throwing the same throw over and over again, and it's not landing the same way, then I have to say, man, it could be something within the balance. I didn't measure the mean on this one. I can tell you right now, it's better than the K-bar. As far as, there we go. As far as the mean is concerned, it's definitely better than the K-bar, but not as good as some of the other, like the War Machine. All right, so it's not consistent as a thrower, and that could come down to practice. The problem is how it leaves the hand. It's just the grips. So I'm thinking once I do some grips on this thing, it will be better. So now I think I'm gonna have to go to Woodcraft, find myself some micarta, and really do this thing up and make it better. And I guarantee you, and I'm telling you, I guarantee you, when I take down all these sharp points and I put on the new grip, this will be probably one of my favorite, like, fighting style knives. I like the weight of it. I love the blade. Love it. Love the blade. You know, there's 3 guys went into it. Larson, Reeves, and Harsey. I don't know who was responsible in designing the blade. I don't know who was responsible in these lines. But whoever did that, thank you, because that part of the knife from here on is magic. Man, whoever did that, if all 3 of you came together, if it was one of you said, hey, I'll do the blade, you guys work on this. And I don't want to talk smack because, you know, I mean, might be great guys, but this is just wrong. This is just wrong. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. But I think as it stands, knife for knife, is it a good knife? Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, is it a good knife? Are there problems? Yeah. Are there problems with most knives if you really get into it? Yeah. Will I find a problem in a D-bad knife if I really get into it? Yeah. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. But we got to be honest, and that's the thing. So, this thing right here, man, I love this blade. I love this. I really can't wait to fix this, because I think once fixed, this thing is it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be incredible. This thing is gonna be incredible. This will be an added to the rotation type thing. I'm really excited to put some scales on here and just really reach into the potential without all this stuff on it of what this knife can be. This right here stays. Nothing changes there. Nothing changes here. Nothing changes like here. This I might just take down the a little bit of the sharpness. And the only other thing is here and here. That's it. The rest of the knife, I mean, perfect. Literally, if you got a couple points on a knife and then the scale choice, and you can say that's the only problem with a knife, okay, well then you got yourself a pretty good knife. So I will have to absolutely say, can I recommend a knife like this? Yeah. Even though I can nitpick and sound like a little bitchy bitch, I can still recommend it. I think this is a really good knife. I'm just going to make it really better. So that's it for this one. Hi, I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.